one of Liverpool's finest amateurs, or indeed one of Britain's finest amateurs of recent times, Peter McGrail, who is now a pro and 1-0 in the pro ranks and is making his second fight in the pro divisions. Pete, good to sit down and catch up. How are you?
Lad, I'm all good, lad. I'm all good. Yourself?
I'm very well, mate. Listen, it's been a bit of a roller coaster year for you, hasn't it? Talk to me about how your 2021's been in your career.
Yeah, so 2021, I was already qualified for the Olympics, weren't I, from obviously 2020. And then obviously down in Sheffield all the time, lad, been away on a few training camps and that. And then I think I might have boxed in Serbia, had 2 fights, won, and then went out to Tokyo then, lad. Oh no, actually, I had a fight in the qualifier, 1 fight in the qualifier before that, even though I was already qualified. And then went out to Tokyo then after that, lad. And it's good experience. Like, obviously disappointed with the results. Like, everywhere I'd go, lad, all of the tournaments, it was used to be in there, lad, to the end, you know what I mean? Yeah. Bringing medals back, and to lose on my first fight, it was hard, you know what I mean? I was gutted, lad. Just it whatsoever. I believed in myself to be able to bring a medal back, and even if I went to the Olympics now, lad, I still would any day. All the major tournaments.
Yeah, it's been up and down, hasn't it? Sorry to interrupt. It's been up and down because you had the disappointments of the Olympics, but then you make your pro debut, and what a stage to make your pro debut. Let's be frank.
Yeah. So obviously was gutted with the Olympics, and then come back, and like it must have been about a week after I was back, and got a phone call saying, do you want a slot on that bill? It's Liam Smith vs Fowler. And just switched my mind, you know what I mean? I was devastated about the Olympics, and I always will be. But when I got that phone call, it was just like, it was just a belter, you know what I mean? Like one of the best cards in Liverpool that's been for years. Loads of scouts on it, and for me to have my debut on it, it was some night, like, and it's gonna be hard to top that, like, probably maybe when I'm fighting for titles and that.
I wanted to ask you about that because you got a lot of stable mates. The Everton Red Triangle is at this moment flying with a lot of up-and-coming talent. But probably all your teammates made their pro debuts on a very smaller shows compared to you. You had what, 10,000 people in an arena. That's a crazy place for a young man to make his pro boxing debut.
Yeah, lad, it was a belter, you know. Like, walked out onto obviously Eddie. Obviously got to thank him. He give me a good slot, didn't he, 2 before the main event, and walked out onto the stage and just looked about, lad. There weren't really many empty seats, and like when my tune come on and that, lad, everyone was loving it. It was a fucking belter, like.
You looked absolutely buzzing, and especially with that song "Dancing in the Moonlight" in the background, it was more than anything. It just seemed like a really happy moment. Like, you could have went out there and got it with a flush shot in the first round, but for that 2 or 3 minutes, you just looked on top of the world, mate.
Yeah, lad, it was boss. Couldn't have felt any better. Like, just like when I got on the stage, it just felt like it was where I was meant to be, and just took it all in, and it was a special moment, like, for me and the family.
How happy are you with your performance? What would you rate that points win in your pro debut?
Yeah, I'm happy with my performance. I boxed well, you know what I mean? But like, people only really seen 50-60% of what I can do, you know what I mean? But like, the kid who was fighting was quite negative, awkward, do what he was doing. He'd been in with a few good kids, so I was happy with it. It was a good debut for me, do you know what I mean? But over these next 10 fights, obviously more eventually, but over these next two years, the next 10 fights, when I start stepping up the opposition, you're going to see the real me and where I can show my skills a bit more.
When we look at the billing for this piece, like, if you think about the main event on the last one, it was Liam Smith versus Anthony Fowler. It was 2 big names. For your fight, it's Peter McGrail. We don't know the opponents. I don't even think we know the opponent's name's been announced yet. Does that come with any pressure, knowing that the fight, it's all in your direction, it's all in your favour?
Not really, no. I don't really feel any pressure. I've been doing it since I was 10, and it's just normal. Do you know what I mean? It's normal to be fighting, and all I do is I just get in the gym every day, make sure my weight's good, make sure I'm living the life, and make sure I'm ready for me fights, and that's all I can do, and I always am. So that's the main thing.
Who are the main people you're working with? Because there's so many names, so many up and comers in that gym. But who are the main people you're working with day to day?
As in boxers?
Yeah, in the Red Triangle.
Yeah, in the Red Triangle, you've got my brother, my little brother Joe. He's having his debut when I'm having my next fight on the 11th. Trained with him for years. Obviously, he started the gym when he was 7. You've got Andrew Kane. I've grew up with him in the gym. When I started when I was 10, I think he started around the same time, maybe a few months later. You've got Nick Ball, who's might be 14 or 15, I think he might be. And then you've got Brad Strand as well. And we're all around the same weight, do you know what I mean? So if we can't get sparring outside the gym, then we've got belter sparring in-house. So it's for me to obviously come back home from Sheffield and be able to get rounds with the likes of Andrew, Nick, Brad. We don't really spar much with our Joe, because it's I don't think it's any good sparring brothers. But for me to come back and be joining a stable like that, training alongside them every day, and they're on the verge of titles, a few of them. Do you know what I mean? So it's good times, and it's going to be good times the next few years. Like,
how old's your Joe?
Yeah, Joe's 19.
What's that like? Presumably you've got more nerves for this fight than you have for your own.
Yeah. I was thinking that, I was on a run last night. I was thinking like he's probably going to fight before me, and I was thinking I'm probably going to be more nervous for him than I am for me, because like you can't I can't do nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in the ring, whereas for me, obviously you get nerves and that, but I'm in control of it. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be but obviously when we both win, obviously all the family there and that, all my friends, everyone, it's going to be a good night.
Do you know? Does the name Jonathan Haggerty ring a bell for you?
Jonathan Haggerty? Nah,
So Jonathan Haggerty fights Muay Thai, so like Thai kickboxing, and he's 23, world champion. But he's got a younger brother called Freddie, who's 15. So I asked him about the similar question: how do you get nervous for when Freddie fights? He said, I get more nervous. He said, but I think Freddie will be better than me because he's learning from me, plus all of my coaches.
Exactly.
I think it's a similar thing with your kid.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like, he's 19 now, and he's sparring the likes of, well, not me because we don't spar much, but he's got like Nick Ball, Brad Strand, Andrew Kane. Like, they were all animals in the gym, do you know what I mean? He's 19, sparring us, getting rounds, coming out, sparring world champions already. He's going to be flying in a few years. Like, he's flying already, but like, I suppose, like, where's he going to be when he's 25? Do you know what I mean? He's going to be it's going to be a good few years for us, like.
Because if you look on paper, next week you'll probably be 2-0. But all that you've
and he's 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. But all that you've accomplished it's going to be. He might actually, depending on how things shake out, he might actually start progressing further than you in terms of your pro record. He could be 5-0 and you're 4-0 because he's just got on smaller shows quicker.
Yeah, it's just have to see how it goes, but pretty sure he's going to be in a very good position when he's 25. Like,
be like
going to be in a better position than 2-0. Like,
yeah, be like the modern Smiths, mate. The McGrail name will become synonymous with like the Smiths.
I know, lad. If we can do half as good as what they've done, lad, we'll be flying, lad, and I believe we can.
Yeah, brilliant. I just want to ask you about as well, because as I say, very young in your pro career, but accomplished so much. Do you think your amateur pedigree and what you've done in all these youth programs that you could get fast tracked to title fights and where you want to get to because of how good your skills are already?
Yeah, definitely. Like, what I've done in the amateurs, obviously by the Olympics, but everything else I've done, I'm made up. I've done what I've done. Do you know what I mean? Because if I hadn't done what I've done, I'm not going to be getting on shows like what I'm getting on. I'm being on the best bill that's come in Liverpool for ages, at a belter slot. You don't really get that for your debut, do you know what I mean? And I'm getting stuff like that because of what I've done in the amateurs. And obviously in the amateurs, when you're going away, to training camps, boxing in the World Championships, Olympics, whatever, the the standard, I know it's only 3 rounds, but the standard of boxing is like a very high level, do you know what I mean? So, and you probably won't get to that standard until you start fighting for like European titles, world titles. So even though it's only 3 rounds, I already know what that standard's like, and I know I'm good enough to hold my own in that standard and win world titles and stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna, as I said, make sure I'm ready, train every day, and it's up to my team, me coaching my team, how fast they want me to go.
Who wins the title first in your gym, in your opinion? You mentioned the names there: Brad, Andrew, Nick, yourself. Who wins a world title? Not a world title, just a title.
Just a title.
First. Just a title.
It's going to be Andrew or Nick, I'd say, because Andrew's 8-0. Nick's, I think he's like 14 or 15-0. Yeah. So, and they're ready. They've been ready for years. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's hard. It's an hard game. It's hard to get the chance. So, they've been training for years in the gym, obviously with me when I'm home from Sheffield and that. And I've seen them progressing. All of us in our gym, we're animals. You know what I mean? So, I'd probably go with Andrew or Nick.
Out of interest, whose side were you on back in October between Smith and Fowler? I don't want to talk about personal allegiance, but when you looked at that fight, who did you go? In your heart of hearts, who did you have winning that fight?
In my heart of hearts, I probably had Beefy, just fully down to experience, and he's a very, very good fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's been in with Canelo. Who else has he been in with? Munguia. He's been in with top level fighters, and I weren't writing Fowler off though. Fowler's a good. I've trained alongside him for years, and myself, I weren't really taking sides because, as I said, I've trained alongside Fowler for years, and Beefy and the Smiths, they've always wished me well over the years. I've always had messages off them, so it was one of them. Whoever got beat, I was going to be gutted for, and whoever won, I was going to be made up for. But it was a good night. I was made up to have my debut on that, and their fight was a good fight as well.
Probably, mate, if we're being totally honest, in terms of Liverpool, probably the best fight that's ever been. Liverpool versus Liverpool, the best fight that's ever been put on. And we need someone like yourself to come, another guy like Peter McGrail to come through in a few years to better it, because them two guys were in the perfect position. It was great, wasn't it?
The thing, the fuss about it in the city and that, and like the demand for everyone wanted tickets, everyone was talking about it, everyone wanted to go, and that it was we need more. We need, like, Liverpool boxing needs more nights like that, you know what I mean?
Because I remember giving you a message saying, remember I was at the press conference in the Hilton, you had COVID at the time, didn't you? What was that like? Did you have a bad bout? Or, did you have a bad bout, or was it just you had COVID and you couldn't leave the house type of thing?
A bad one?
Were you sick with COVID, or was it just I got COVID, I can't leave the house type of thing?
I was a bit sick, like I weren't proper fucking knackered or nothing, but I was feeling it a bit. But that was I think it was like a few days before the end of my isolation thing, do you know what I mean? So I obviously couldn't go, but as long as I was on the bill, that was the main thing.
I want to quickly talk about the main event of the next card, Conor Benn, Chris Algieri. What are your opinions on Conor Benn? Because he can be quite he seems to be someone who divides opinions in boxing. Some people think he's going to be the next big thing. Some people think he's there because of his dad. Where do you stand on Conor Benn and his skills?
Listen, from literally a few years ago when I watched him to now, like, it's just mad how good he is now compared to when he first started. He was very raw, and now he's seemed like a very complete fighter. Do you know what I mean? He can box, he can fight, he's strong, he's sharp, and every time he's getting, like, going through the levels, getting an harder test, he's stepping up and he's blathering who he's fighting. So I fully believe he's gonna beat Chris Algieri as well on the 11th.
Do you think he wins a world title? If I give you £100 now and said yes or no, does he win a world title? What would you say?
I think yes. I think he can win a world title, Conor Benn, like, definitely.
In what year would you bet yourself to win a world title?
Myself, what are we in now? So we're going into 2022. Wouldn't mind having a world title before. I would have said 2024 because of the year with the COVID. I want to say 2025.
Yeah, it probably sounds more realistic, because I think, as I say, where you are, you've got the pedigree. Maybe you're not at the world level you mentioned, and probably European level, certainly British. But you probably just got to rack up them fights to just get yourself in that conversation, because we can't have a guy at British level or European level at 2-0, can we?
Nah, you can't. I believe I've got the skill set now of some world champions, but it's not. You need to get the experience. You need to get the rounds. Like I'm on 6 rounders now. Do you know what I mean? I'll be pushing on to 8s next year, 10s, and then obviously eventually 12s. So it's not just the skill that you need. It's the experience, the stamina, and the getting used to the rounds and the adapting to the pro game and stuff.
How did you feel in there stamina wise? How was round 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, well, I've done loads of 5 rounders. You know what I mean in the World Series boxing. So that's why I started off on a 6. I would have started off on 8, but obviously it was a big show. It was my debut, so we started off on 6. I think I'm doing a 6 again, but I wouldn't mind pushing on to 8 next year for my 3rd fight. Just obviously speak to me coaching the team, but yeah, it was all right. As I said, I've done loads of 5, so it was good to get the 6 out and just as I said, because it's the first time I've done it. So yeah, I was happy with the performance, and it was a brilliant experience.
I've got to ask, because there was a lot of music that went on that night. I remember Beefy's was obviously this girl, but where's Dancing in the Moonlight come from? Why is that your song?
Yeah, so when I was said to you then, I've done some 5-round fights. It's in the World Series of Boxing. It was called WSB, but they don't. I don't think they do it no more, because they didn't do it for the last few years when I was amateur. And it's a bit like a pro fight. You wear no vest. You weigh in the day before. And you get a walkout tune, and I picked that tune, and then every time I was fighting in York Hall, because that was like our home venue, the Lionhearts, I'd always come out to that tune. So it's half stuck, lad. So when it comes on, lad, it gets me proper in a good mood, and that, you know what I mean? And like whenever like people are out somewhere and it comes on, then I'll always get like a little video on Snapchat, or someone will FaceTime me or send me a little video. So it half just stuck, lad, and that's where it comes from.
Is that what it's like for you in boxing? Because I always find walkout music fascinating, because some people really like to go into like a dark, focused place, if you like. Some people love to just be buzzing in there. Some people like a tune that gets them amped up. Is that what it is for you? Just a tune that makes you happy, if you like?
Yeah, it is. It just puts me in a good mood, and like obviously the amount I've done a few ring walks in the WSB, and then obviously that ring walk made the tune 10 times more special to me on my debut. So yeah, it's just and as I said, it's stuck. Like people know, like quite a lot of people know it as my tune. They'll always send me videos and stuff. So just one of them things that's stuck, and I think it's a belter tune anyway. Anyway, lad, everyone loves it, don't they?
It is, mate. Yeah. Listen, I'll leave you with one final question on the boxing side. Where's Peter McGrail in 12 months' time? What do you want to accomplish by, let's say, the end of 2022?
So I'm going to be 2-0 going into 2022.
Sorry, got end of 2022, yeah. So where do you want to be?
End of 2022, I want to be at least 7-0, 8-0. Do you know what I mean? Like a good prospect, pushing on for a few titles, fighting in 10 round, 12 round fights.
Do you believe that matchroom can give you that activity?
I'm not actually signed to matchroom, you know, Mike.
Right, okay.
So it was just basically like a one fight deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously it's going to be the same again here. Just I got as I said, I got that phone call, didn't I, a week after I got back from the Olympics, and it was, do you want to have your debut on that? So I didn't have to rush into getting signed to no one on that. It was people get signed to people so that they get the debut penciled in, but I already had my debut penciled in, so I'm just a bit of a what do they call it? A bit of a free agent, but I'm getting on the shows, lad, so I'm happy.
Because I just want to say that your stable mates, Nick and Brad, they're Queensbury, aren't they? I can imagine the intense rivalry.
Yeah, they're all with Warren, aren't they? So it's one of them. But yeah, I'm not in no rush, lad. As long as I'm getting the fights, lad, that's the main thing, lad. Keep racking up the experience, build the record, and just go from there.
100%, mate. Well, it was very excited when I saw the billing. Very excited to see you back in action, and thanks for the time this evening.
Sam, Mike, nice one, lad.
No worries, mate. Before we finish, how can people find you on social media, and any sponsors you want to plug? The floor is yours.
Yeah, it's just at Peter _McGrail on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And obviously got me sponsors, MAJ Law. They've been with me for a good few years now, all the way through the amateur game. I've got quadrant building inspectors, and I've also got 3RL transport and refrigeration. They joined the team about just before the Olympics. So yeah, they're my 3 sponsors.
Perfect, mate. Great catching up.
And